Catherine, do you believe in ghosts?
Somewhat, yes. I think I do.
I would like a more substantial answer than somewhat. I guess I do.
Okay, let's
That's
start
not
over.
that's a terrible answer.
Let's get over. Let's start
Did you
over.
kill suspect A? Well, I think so. Yeah, somewhat. Are you pregnant? I think so. Maybe somewhat.
You're cutting this, right?
No. Did you vote for President Trump?
No.
Well, somewhat. I think so. Guess. Yeah, sure.
No, that was a hard no.
Well, finally, I get a no out of you.
Okay. Regarding ghosts, I think it's fun to believe in ghosts. And I have had some
It's fun to vote for President Trump.
No, it wasn't. That's a horror show. Speaking of that, the former administration.
We were talking about ghosts. We can always talk about
Well,
Trump.
I know. I started watching like Ghost Adventures and Paranormal whatever.
You
on
must have a lot of time on your hands.
travel. Well, yeah, I guess I did. Because it just seemed more realistic to me than what was going on politically. So, but actually, no, I do believe in ghosts.
I don't know how to respond to that. Ghosts seem more real than what's actually happening in politics.
Maybe it was just more appealing.
Well, that I can understand.
It was more appealing.
That's the world you want to live in, not this hot mess that we have here.
The hot mess, hot, and hotter.
I have to say one thing.
What?
Is Joe Biden not quite as old as we thought he was going to be?
No, he's not.
He seemed like he was going to be a disaster. He seemed like he was going to be a senile old man. But he seems really cogent, and he's on the ball, and he's getting stuff done. It's like, who is this president? Who is this guy? I remember this guy Joe from decades ago, and he was always around and always saying dumb things. What happened to that Joe? Has he been taken over by aliens?
Maybe.
Okay, that would explain it.
I'm happy with Joe Biden. I think the media had a lot of fun just painting him out as just an old
He
doddering.
is old.
He is old.
He shouldn't be this cogent.
I'm glad he is.
Yes, me too.
I'm
I'm
super
surprised.
glad
I'm
he
like,
is.
what is going on? This is not what I expected. I expected, basically nothing to happen because he was asleep at the switch because he was literally asleep being 90 years old. But
He's not 90, but I had a discussion about this with the friend, the one friend I still will discuss politics with. And we were talking about, his speech and everything. And I said, I think a lot of the missteps verbally could have been really related to his speech impediment.
or perhaps he's dead and this is his ghost. That would make more sense. That's what I'm going with.
Or a clone.
Why would they clone him old, though?
I don't know.
Dial it back a few years or decades, make him only 70.
I think he's just mustering everything he's got left to right the ship.
You think he's on something?
I don't think he's on something. I think he's on...
Because whatever it is, I want some.
Right. Well, I could use some. And I think he's just kind of riding the high. I think that, this is his moment. And if he doesn't do it now, like if not now, when, right?
That would be a good question because this is the end.
Right.
Back to ghosts.
That was depressing, but okay.
Was it?
No. It's like, that was the end. I'm like, ooh.
Well, no, this is his end. I mean, come on, how long can he last?
I hope he lasts.
How old is he? Like 80 or something? I don't even remember.
70-something, right?
Is he only 7? No, I think he's 80. I don't know.
I don't know. I will have to
It's
Google
something
it.
we should know.
Yeah.
Ghosts. How old are your ghosts?
My ghosts?
Do you have a ghost?
I lived in a house that I believe was haunted when I was in college. And this is no joke. It was in Tempe. There were these gals when I was in nursing school, and they're like, they could never keep like their third roommate. And it's like, oh, we have it was just this great condo. Everyone had their own room. It was just like sweet, cute, and clean. And I'm like, oh, I'll move in. They're like, well, there's some issues, and people kind of don't like that room.
What kind of issues?
It was really cold, and the walls periodically would become very damp.
Mm-hmm.
It smelled like rats died in the wall.
Okay, yeah, this all seems to be pointing at bad construction. Yeah, I got
And
it.
there was like a spot on the rug that was dark. Every time you'd wash it, I actually got a like industrial rug cleaner thing and cleaned it, and the spot came back.
I think what you need to do is take a heat gun, and not a heat gun, measure. There are devices you can get to measure heat areas on walls, and also you can do the same thing for moisture. Mm-hmm. You put these two things together, and I think you will probably find what the problem is. You probably have some kind of leak from a water, and then leak from insulation.
You think that's all it was?
Yes.
Because we drove ourselves
of course.
crazy. And then if we'd have parties or we'd come home drunk, and it was always like a problem.
Okay, but think about this. Tempe, Arizona. What ghost in their right mind is going to want to be in Tempe, Arizona? If you were a ghost and you were going to, chain yourself to one place and start messing with people, why would it be Tempe?
I know, we just called it Grandpa.
That's not top tier ghosting places.
Yeah, we called it Grandpa. and like my
So
friend.
so you assigned a gender to it. It's a male.
Well,
Because it smelled bad? Is that what it was?
no, because
You.
because the guy who rented it to my friend, his grandpa, who wasn't really his grandpa, I think it was his uncle, died in the house.
Mm-hmm. How old was this house? I mean, this is Tempe. Was it like 3 years old or something?
No, it was one of the older condos.
So it was 20 years old.
Maybe 20 years old.
I don't think you get a ghost before.
I don't know, but it's
How
like
old do you have to be?
Anyway, so I was in the weird room, and once in a while I'd wake up, I would feel like something was like hovering over me, and there was this like really weird oppressive energy, unless I was just so into the story, which could be.
Well, it could also be the leak was causing a higher humidity in your room, so it felt more oppressive.
It was horrible, James. It was it was scary, and no one would want to be there alone. One of the gals actually just moved out for the summer, but the other gal stayed there, and she would just sleep downstairs. Like no one, if we were alone in the house, would sleep upstairs alone. Like we'd sleep downstairs on the couch.
You ladies.
And so when I moved out, I just couldn't stand it. And the odor, it just, everything about it was just gross. I think I was just there for a couple months. I'm like, I can't continue this because I'm not sleeping. And it smells funny and everything feels wet and it's just gross. And I think, you'd walk in, if we'd turn up the AC, then it'd be down really low. And it was just all this like really crazy stuff. No one touched it. And when we come in and be like,
did you see anything?
No, I never saw
anything. Anybody stroke your hair?
No, but
seems like a pretty crummy ghost. If I have a ghost, I want it to do something.
On the day I moved, I told it that I was leaving, and I had my movers come and help me get all my shit out. And there was no one.
You had movers in college?
Yeah,
Wait a second. Hang on a second. Oh, you had friends.
They were friends.
Okay, they're not movers. You make yourself sound like some kind of princess.
I kind of was.
It's like, A, how much stuff do you have in college? And B, how can you afford movers?
Well, I probably paid them or took them out for drinks or something, but there was no one on either side. There was no one in the condos because the whole area, it was like all student-y, and so no one was living either side. And we were moving out, and one of the guys was like, this is really creepy. He goes, there's something creepy about this place. And I'm like, yeah, it's oppressive. It's weird. I'm getting out. And so once I got all my stuff, and he's like, oh, if there's anybody in here, see ya. Literally, there was like it was like a thunderous like pounding all over the walls. And just like I can't even describe to you. It just felt like
you can try.
It felt like the whole house was shaking and pounding. And these two guys, they looked at me and our eyes just got really big. And he's like, holy shit. And we just ran out of the house.
I think I need corroboration.
You don't buy this?
I don't buy it. If there was anything, we could document it. It would be documented. Especially now with everybody having cell phones. And the ability to take high resolution video and pictures.
No, we never saw anything.
At a moment's notice.
We never saw. I never saw.
You
anything.
heard it. You heard it though.
But I heard it.
Yeah, you could record it.
I didn't record it.
Well, I'm saying I know not.
But see, it's just like UFOs. It's like
I don't know if this is true, but I thought this was what I heard recently was that since everyone now has cell phones, and basically we have the ability to take pictures, make recordings, video and audio. At every moment of our lives. I mean, we sleep next to our phones. The reports of alien abductions have basically stopped.
I don't know how I feel about alien abductions.
Well, you remember the 20th century was full of them. But once we actually have the technology to record stuff like that, suddenly nobody's reporting them anymore.
Good point.
Because, either the alien... Okay, I guess you could say, the aliens have gotten really smart. They don't want to be recorded on your cell phone.
Just like Bigfoot. Bigfoot's pretty smart, too.
If Facebook can figure out how to get all your stuff from your phone, I'm sure the aliens could probably figure out how to get it off your phone. Mm-hmm. But no, I think it has to do with the fact that people just realize that there's no way to tell that kind of story anymore unless you have documented proof.
Right. I just never had a vibe for aliens.
I love aliens. I think, alien abductions never really struck me as being a real thing.
No.
There were so many strange coincidences between them.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, you would look at different parts of the world, and each part of the world would have its own hallmarks, different hallmarks of the stories of alien abductions. Like you go to South America, and the aliens are different color, and they do different things. You go up to North America, and the aliens are totally different spaceships. So it's the culture you're from that seems to dictate what your experience was going to be like, which suggests to me that you have absorbed these stories, and then for whatever reason, you think you had a dream or something happened to you in which you think it was real, or you just like telling stories.
I think some of it was probably dreaming with them. I never saw aliens.
Humans are really messed up. You can
Yeah.
you can be a pretty normal human and just have one really weird psychotic break or event and then go on being back to normal, but then you still have this memory.
Right. And same with the condo. It's like, when I moved in, you hear the story about the walls and all this. And it all happened. I mean, I was in the weird room and I just couldn't tolerate it.
You're primed for it. I mean,
I was primed for it. But it did feel oppressive. And I don't know if it was a ghost, but they would talk to this thing. And the whole thing freaked me out.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to live there anymore. So I moved.
You know what else freaks you out?
What?
Instagram.
Instagram. Talk about Instagram, please.
Does Instagram freak you out?
No, I got an Instagram. I literally was on Instagram probably for like 10 minutes. And I just didn't know what to do with the platform.
So this is our ongoing social media corner.
Go ahead. Go do social media corner.
I know. We've already started.
Ghost Corner was a bust.
Spirit Corner.
Spirit Corner.
Well, it wasn't a bust. You told your story. I actually have a little ghost story.
Oh, do you? I have more.
In college, I was lying half asleep in my bed, and I heard a female voice whisper to me 3 times. She said, "Not yet. Not yet. Not yet."
Ew, that's creepy.
I'm like, "Not yet what?" So I've been waiting ever since. I haven't done it yet.
Wow.
When that happened to me, it felt real. It felt like there was something that I could not see that was talking to me. Of course, as I said, I was in a semi-sleepy state. I look back at it and say, well, I mean, that was probably just a dream. On the other hand, it felt real at the time. I don't really believe in ghosts, though.
You don't? I just think it's kind of a fun thing to believe in.
Yeah, that's cool. It's like this alien thing, the report that they dropped this past week. This is actually, I think this was Trump's doing. I think Trump ordered the government to look at all the evidence they had for extraterrestrial, alien, whatever, and then produce this report. So I think that's where this report came from.
What was it? I didn't follow the report.
Thank you, President Trump. It was a review of all the government agencies, what information they had pertaining to events or technologies that may relate to extraterrestrial encounters.
And what was
unexplained phenomena?
What was the outcome?
The biggest, most interesting parts were from the Air Forces, the Navy Air Force and the Air Force.
The Air Force.
The pilots.
Okay.
The pilots had both testimony, what they witnessed with their eyes, but also what their instruments registered and how they registered it. So they have these instances where they were recording something happening over the skies. I think this is both off the East Coast and the West Coast. Tic Tacs, some of them were called Tic Tacs, moving in ways that could not be explained.
Interesting.
And also they were able to see them. And they were able to see them on their, I think it was on their heat guns, but not on their radar. So they could see them on some of their sensors, but not on all of their sensors. So that was kind of weird. And also there was some indication that this phenomena was reacting to them and what they were doing.
Interesting.
So you could take that as, total proof of aliens. And from my point of view, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to say 75% sure that it was aliens. However, the other side of my brain is saying, let's think about this. There is probably a 10% chance that that's aliens and a 90% chance that that is some phenomena that we have not been able to identify yet. I don't care about that side of my brain. I'm going with the 70% that says, 75% that says it's aliens.
I didn't read the report.
I didn't read the report either. I've seen interviews with the pilots.
I have too.
And I've seen the video footage that they had from their pilot planes. From their planes.
I think it's interesting, but my question is, like, why all the secrecy? Why all the covertness? If the aliens are flying around,
these weren't secrets, really. I mean, these pilots, they had the footage, they took it with them, and then they declassified the footage, and they're talking about it.
Right? No, not from the pirate secrecy.
Pirate.
Oh my God.
You think they're alien pirates?
No, I'm just like,
oh wow,
that's just like the to-go bag, but not the pilot secrecy, the secrecy of the aliens. If they're going through all these lengths from the 1950s on to like circle around and like come out of the ocean or do whatever, why not just land and be like, take me to your leader? I mean, come on.
Wait, I didn't want to get too deeply into the alien thing. This was just an example of my weird thinking about aliens and your weird thinking about ghosts. I have this bifurcated idea for aliens. I one side of me, I'm saying yes, 75% chance it's aliens, while in the back of my mind I know it's not. It might be the same thing with ghosts. Now, since you brought it up, I feel obliged to talk about just a little bit more.
What?
about aliens.
Go for it, because
Why would the aliens bother to get out and talk to us?
people think that we were seeded from aliens, or
That may well be true,
that
but
may well be true. But
think
I
think
don't know.
about how much smarter aliens would have to be to get here to see us. Consider this. I talk to my dog, but my dog doesn't talk back to me. I don't really try to have conversations with my dog because I'm so much more intelligent than her that she doesn't understand what I'm saying, and,
Right.
and there's no way for her to communicate with me. Aliens would be like that to us. We would be the dog in that situation. We wouldn't be able to talk to them because they're on a different level intellectually. We literally wouldn't be able to talk to them. It's like trying to understand fourth dimensional space. There's a great example of this, the tesseract shape.
Mm-hmm.
You can take a wireframe cube and then you can project the shadow of that onto a two-dimensional surface, which suggests that if you were in a two-dimensional world or realm, you could see that two-dimensional representation of the three-dimensional cube, and you say, oh, okay, that's what a third dimension would look like, but you still can't perceive what a third dimension would be. You're just seeing the flat representation of it. That's what the tesseract is in 3D space. It's a fourth dimensional object casting a shadow into 3D space. That's what the tesseract is, which in the tesseract is basically one cube inside of another cube connected by lines, but everything's at a right angle, which we can't understand because but that's what I'm talking about. There's a level of disconnect. Plus, I don't know if you've noticed, but humans are really kind of violent. We always seem to be killing each other. And so why would aliens want to come and talk to us? I can understand them coming and like checking out the planet and looking at what the planet looks like and all the flora and fauna, because if they have any kind of scientific curiosity, they're going to want to look at and document all the different variations of life. That would be really interesting to go to a different planet and see what the kind of forms of life is.
That would be interesting.
But to get involved with those disgusting animals that are killing each other like all the time, that would be horrible.
No, I think
What's
it
the
would
point?
Be
Just watch them.
I don't know, but I was always hoping that like they had seeded us and they were kind of watching over us. Almost like,
and they think, wow, that was an experiment.
And that's like,
gone
that was a
bad.
weird experiment. Let's flood this place.
No, they don't have to. They can see where we're headed.
They can see where we're headed. Yeah, global climate change.
What they're doing is they're probably just documenting everything before it's gone.
I think so, and that climate change took up a lot of my energy this week.
Or you know what? We know what it probably is.
What?
It's probably that they got here and they were about to say, hi, we're going to share our technology and you can come and visit us and all this stuff, and then they got wrapped up in Instagram.
Probably have to. Let's talk about Instagram.
But I used to love Instagram. I could easily spend an hour a day on Instagram just looking through it because I had two accounts. I had a personal account, and my personal account would be like pictures of my friends, and also I could go to the Explore tab, and it would show me pictures of all my different hobbies that I was interested in. And then I had my, quote, creative account, which was for my paintings. I posted my paintings there, and I would look at other paintings and art and ceramics and sculptures, paintings. And I also really like to look at quilts. Quilts, there's a big overlap.
You like
between
quilts. You told me
I
that
love,
before.
well, there's, especially the really good quilts.
Right.
There's a big overlap between quilting and painting in my mind. But then Instagram got bought by Facebook, and it's been slowly turning into Facebook, and it's been turning me off more and more. So now I spend maybe 10 minutes a day on
You still have your accounts active?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't post the painting account. I don't really post to either account anymore, but I still look at them to the point where I get annoyed because they will keep shoving down the videos at me. It's trying to rip off TikTok. So it shows me these crummy videos, which I have no interest in seeing. For instance, fail videos. For some reason, it thinks I want to see like a car falling off of a flatbed truck or someone doing a skate trick and then falling on their face horribly. And like when I see that, I just instantly close the app because it's so off-putting. And that's especially when it's on my creative account and I'm looking at paintings and suddenly I'm seeing someone's face smashed in.
Right.
What the hell are they thinking? And this is the difference between TikTok. It doesn't matter how many times I tell Instagram not to show me stuff like that, it still shows me stuff like that.
Facebook does that too. I got off of Facebook.
Who's on Facebook?
Well, I'm not. No.
Neither am I.
No, I'm not. And so, but Instagram, but I just never really understood it. And then sometimes I don't understand like how you communicate or how do people find you, and is there even a point? I mean, I don't know.
Catherine,
I just never.
You sound kind of old right now.
I'm sounding kind of old.
How do you find people?
No, not find people.
You just said that.
I didn't mean find people. I don't know what I mean. It didn't interest me, and I just didn't feel enough of a connection with it.
Well, I'll give you an example of the things that drew me to it. It is, or was, a way to visually see the world so quickly. There's no other platform that is this quick about being able to look at a place or a thing or an idea and just visually scroll through the
Right.
world, because you can just flip through like hundreds of pictures in a minute and then look at the ones you're interested in. But when I was working as a designer for a glass company, we were making glasses. And so one of the things I would do is I would look at locations. I would find bars and restaurants, and then I would, by location, search for images at that location. So it would literally be people taking pictures in the bars.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of people would take pictures of their drinks.
Right.
So I could see the drinkware. I could pinpoint the specific restaurants that we were interested in, you know, quote, the cool ones, and then look like with an X-ray into the inside of and see what's happening right there. And that's kind of extraordinary. I could do that. I could look at a bar in New York, Chicago, Florence, Italy, Paris, France, Beijing, China. And that's pretty extraordinary, being able to just sort of drill down and look for things like that. And the other thing I loved was the creative account. I could just have this flow of paintings and sculptures and stuff.
Yeah, maybe I wasn't on long enough, but the feed never made sense to me.
Well, you do have to train a little bit, and it fluctuates.
Yeah, not in terms of finding. I just never found like a connection. I just didn't feel a connection. Like with Twitter, it was just, and Twitter's like that really fast, banter.
Well, I think part of it is that you might be more of a verbal person.
Maybe.
You have strong visual instincts, but you also may just respond to the verbal more.
Right. And so Twitter was more I instantly got engaged with Twitter. And Instagram, I couldn't. And then a friend had gotten on Instagram and started like posting her art. Then she's like, "Oh, I have all these followers and it was just like a bunch of random, it wasn't, I'm like, what difference does it make? Are they going to buy it? Are they commenting? Are they like, what's the point?"
But the point is to create a following, and you can use that. You can go into a gallery and say, "Look, I have 10,000 followers for these sculptures that I'm making." That should give you some indication that people know me and will show up and buy the artwork if you have a show for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good selling point. Plus, you may just make sales directly through your Instagram account.
Okay.
And I think that is really one of the nice things about it. It is a really good platform for visual artists because it's just a stream of the work that you want to show people.
Okay.
And it's very simple. It's like even a website, it's hard to replicate this. Just the stream of content that you want to put out there. It really is, I think, the best way to represent your work in a stream like that.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, because I wasn't looking to post pictures. I think I went on Instagram with like a Twitter mindset.
Oh, yeah.
And it didn't work for me. And I literally got on, I'm like, I'm confused. What is this? And nothing seemed to connect for me. And I just literally deleted the account. It's probably not deleted any more than my Twitter account was deleted.
Well, of course, it's like shopping for hiking shoes at Toyota. It's not exactly where you're going to be finding hiking shoes.
Right.
Maybe at the Subaru place.
Maybe. God,
Volkswagen used to do this thing with Trek, so they would sell you a car with bicycles.
Really?
It was kind of dumb.
I don't recall that.
Why would you?
I know, because
People do weird things.
people do weird things.
Even without social media, people do weird things.
Right. Well,
People may do weird things without social media more because I think social media has a tendency to guide the conversation. So everybody starts doing the same thing. Everybody can see what's happening on Instagram or Facebook, and then that's what they want to do. Rather than if they're just on their own somewhere in the middle of Illinois, who knows what? You're on a farm or something. You're disconnected from everyone else. You start living your life in your own head. You get your own ideas, and then you do something crazy.
Right. Yeah, and then it's documented forever.
Well, on Instagram, I'm just saying that it may be actually hampering our creative process.
It could be.
Because it homogenizes it. Makes it all the same.
Okay, yeah, homogenize would be the word. But I noticed that on YouTube. It seems like some of the content creators will do similar things.
Oh, they're tropes. I mean, they fall
It's
into
just
these...
the same thing. It's like, so now everyone's doing...
Right, there are tropes that they fall into. And you see it on TikTok all the time. And they'll use the same music. They'll have... What's crazy about it is there are these very specific TikTok ways of looking and talking to the camera that the creators use, and I don't know who came up with them, but zoom in, zoom out, cocking your head just so you see these. You understand these are mannerisms that are part of some creators' portfolio, and then they get replicated. So other people are doing the same thing, and it's literally almost like a virus spreading across. the landscape.
Right, like those TikTok dances, like the brief time I was on TikTok, and then those people would come up and it was all that same music and they did the same arm movement. And I'm like, why would they? I don't understand it. A friend of mine, her daughter and her son-in-law have a wedding photography business, and she sent me this little clip, and she's like, they did this wedding and now they're doing some videos, and she's like, the bride requested this, and it was really cute, and they were just kind of all like, it was the whole bridal party and they were doing whatever, and then the music changed, like there was a break, and then she was in her wedding dress and everyone was like dressed for the wedding, and I said, so TikTok, and then I saw in the corner it was on TikTok. I said, that looks like a TikTok. And she's like, I think, look in the, and I looked, I'm like, oh gosh. But it was actually very cute. It was really very cute. But, but I haven't been on TikTok, and that's probably another thing that everyone's doing.
Oh, well, we've talked about TikTok.
Yeah.
On the other hand, these social medias do give us a connection as a society. It gives us, 50 years ago, we would all be watching the same TV shows because there weren't that many of them.
Right.
These days, everybody's watching different TV shows. So it's harder to create this social connection.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the social media is doing that. Oh, yeah, it allows you to connect to other wackos who want to storm the Capitol.
That was crazy.
When did you get that?
That was crazy. I didn't even know about that until it was happening. That was horrifying.
Well,
but
I don't think anybody knew it was happening until it was happening. I don't think it was really pre-planned.
I don't know what it was.
If it was really badly executed.
It was, yeah. Thank God.
Oh, well, yeah, obviously.
Obviously. So, yeah. So, well, maybe I'll re-engage with it. I was going to do that yesterday. I just got so into cleaning my studio and trying to get things organized.
No,
I just didn't
no. We're not talking about cleaning studios. I think the show is over now.
Okay, good.
When we start talking about cleaning.
Oh, my God.
That's the time to stop.
Yes, let's stop.
Yes. Goodbye, Kathy.
Bye.